Deep in the heart of Pueblo, fueled by Rocky Mountain water and the Arkansas River, coal deposits and mines in the nearby hills, the steel industry once ruled the city.
It all started in 1872 with a man named General William Jackson Palmer. He came to the region, he found a lot of coal, a lot of iron. There was water here in Pueblo, and so those were the things that you really need to be able to make steel.
General Palmer came here and put the steel mill here, then which became known as Colorado Fuel and Iron, and that gave us its name of the Steel City. It was the first steel mill west of the Mississippi. He chose Pueblo because of the smelters and the history of mining and that here in the community. That's how Steel City became, I think, our icon, and still is today in some people's minds.
That definitely evolved over the next 100 and some odd years. It was purchased by the Rockefellers, who ran the company from 1904 to 1944, and then it changed ownership a few times. They had some really great periods of growth and expansion in the 1950s and 60s, but by the 1980s, the steel industry in general really started to slow down.
It was devastating. Back in the mid-1980s, when the price of steel collapsed and the market crashed for steel, Pueblo faced dramatic unemployment rates, sometimes upwards of 25%.
When the mill shut down, we lost our jobs in 1982, and it was quite an impact on the people out here in Pueblo, quite a bit. Everybody had to take off and go somewhere else to work.
When the steel industry collapsed, the city of Pueblo looked to other industries to rebuild not only their economy, but also their identity.
So once the steel mill reduced their numbers and kind of devastated the economy of Pueblo, they were searching for something more. And so when they started growing the Pueblo chilies and moved it into a green chili extravaganza, is what it is now basically, it became the heart of Pueblo.
So I think we'll always be the Steel City of the West. I think we'll always be the Steel City because those are our roots. We still have a steel mill here in Pueblo where we have a lot of people who work there and take pride in working there. But when you talk about rebranding, I think we could talk about Pueblo County as a whole as the home of the Pueblo Chili.
We at the chamber felt like, geez, we got to come up with a brand for Pueblo, and we first came up with the experience, the flavor, and that came about because of a lot of people think it's because of our food and because of the chili, but really it was because of the diverse population that we have in Pueblo. I think at the steel mill at one time there were 43 different languages spoken.
CF&I recruited workers from all over the world. They actively recruited in Europe, in Asia, in Russia. We have a big Slovenian population, Hispanic population. They brought all these workers from around the world to work for CF&I. And that's why most of the people in Pueblo actually live in Pueblo, is because their parents and grandparents and great-grandparents came here to work for CF&I.
The majority of the farmers on the St. Charles Mesa are Italian immigrants. Their families came to Pueblo. They were farmers by nature. They came because of the steel industry and the ancillary things that came along with it, but they farmed, and one of the products that they farmed was chili. They brought that expertise with them. It was part of their food, the regional culture that they brought with them.
My grandfather come in the late 1800s and bought this place and a place across the road. My grandfather farmed it, my dad farmed it, I farmed it, my son farmed it, and my grandson's gonna farm it. 5 generations.
And being a Pueblo native, Pueblo will always be the Steel City. But when you talk about having the Pueblo chilies gaining the popularity that it is across the state, I think it goes hand in hand. I don't think one's ever gonna be over the other. I think it's going to be a great harmony, and again, it goes back to that. It's in our blood. We're working people, and that's who we always will be, no matter what happens.
We started farming back in 1985. I started this when I was in high school, and one of our main crops then was the Pueblo chili. Since then, the Pueblo chili has risen to more than our expectations. Pueblo chili is like an icon. It's something we can hang our hat on. especially for myself and the other growers in the area. We all take a lot of pride in what we do with our Pueblo chili, how we market it, what we do with it, where it goes. I think it's a great regional item for southern Colorado. Sort of puts us on the map.
Pueblo chili is a staple here in not only Pueblo but in the entire state.
To us as a farm, it's kind of our backbone, our main focal point, something we're really proud of.
It's just more than just a plant that they grow for economic impact. It's really been ingrained to the culture, and part of it is knowing where that crop came from and how it originated and how long it's been grown in the area. For years, the Pueblo chili has been grown since about the early 1900s, and it's always been a big part of the economy.
Oh, it's number one. We got to have our chili.
Something that's interesting about Pueblo chili is that it has to do with the climate of Pueblo. Our hot days during the summer and our cool nights, coupled with clean, very clear and cold Rocky Mountain water that comes through the Arkansas River and down the Bessemer Ditch to the farms. That combination really does lend to the very special flavor and the texture of Pueblo chili.
It just has a very unique flavor. Heat-wise, the heat of a Pueblo chili, I mean, it's a hot chili, but I wouldn't say it's hot as a normal hatch chili, but the flavor is just way out there, way outstanding. So when the chili is red, that means it's ripe, and it's gonna have a real sweetness to it, followed by some heat. Now when the chili is green, you're gonna kind of get more of that not ripe taste. I don't know how to describe it, but when you mix the two together, it's unbelievable.
I kind of think it's the best chili growing. So it's meatier, it's got more flavor, and when you cook with it, you can really do a lot of wonderful things.
It grows slow on the count of the cool nights. In the hot days, it stops growing. And as it grows slow, it puts on more meat.
The Pueblo chili is unique. It's thicker bodied, heavier meated, different flavor profile. And a lot of that is due to the knowledge of the growers and our weather.
I think the people of Pueblo really care about this chili because it is a far superior chili to the popular one that's always talked about in the state south of us. It's meatier, it's got more flavor to it. Some even debate it may have more spice to it depending on the season and depending on the year. We just think it's a far superior product, and we're tired of not getting the recognition we deserve when it comes to actually what we grow here in our soil. It's the Rocky Mountain water, it's the Colorado sunshine. It helps this particular pepper, this chili, have the flavor and the consistency that it does, that it's the far superior chili, and it's time the rest of the world knew that.
The Pueblo Chili Festival, on its 23rd year this year, has brought attention to our community, our product, and has really just snowballed into something really great.
One little Pueblo chili draws tens of thousands of people.
Originally from Kentucky, moved here about 30 years ago, and I've been coming to the chili festivals since they started. So I am so impressed that it has grown so large over the years. I remember when it was just a couple of stands and a couple of booths that sold the green chili. So to see it grow this large and have so many people come is just awesome, and it says so much for the vitality and the energy of Pueblo.
When we did this brand, the Experience the Flavor, was in early 1993. And then we came out with the festival in the fall of 1994 to celebrate the harvest of the agriculture products, just not the Pueblo chili. So really the festival wasn't designed to become a traditional festival that went on and on. It was to get people to experience the flavor, and we had the great chili here. And here we are 23 years, we just had the 23rd Chili Festival, and it's been really fun to watch it grow.
We really didn't know what was going to happen out of it. We knew that it was an important thing. We had some inference from other places around the country that these festivals could be quite large, but it's amazing how the popularity has grown and what that stimulated in other opportunities.
Every hotel room was full. Every restaurant was busy. Several bars were busy just because of the people that were here. The impact on the farms is tremendous. That is our best weekend of the year.
Green Chili to Pueblo is huge. That's why the Chili Festival gets 100,000 people to it every year. It's one of the largest festivals in the state of Colorado. So green chili is really important to Pueblo's industry.
Oh, we love the chili here, you know. It's pretty hot. We like hot stuff here, so, you know, we like to keep it spicy.
You know, it's a family tradition, so it's our highlight of our year. It's on our calendar. We just really love the smell, and so we come to sniff along.
My favorite thing about the Chili Festival, I've gone every single year, is just the smells that fill the entire downtown area. You've got chilies roasting all up and down Union Avenue, and you've got the crisp fall air coming in, and you just see all of the wonderful products that are being produced by our amazing farmers out here. It's a magical season. It's what I look forward to most every single year, honestly. It's my big holiday.
It's like a family tradition for a lot of people is to come and get their chilies in September. We have several people that come from out of state, New Mexico for one, and they make a big deal out of it. They bring the whole family, or they buy for all the neighbors. There's a lot of them from small towns. They'll come up and buy 40 or 50 bushels for the whole town.
I know plenty of families in this town that actually could not go without it for a year.
Everybody has to have their chili, and plenty of it. I can't believe so many people eat chili, but we do.
We have 2 bushels because that's about all we can peel in one day, 2 roasted bushels. We'll come back and get some along the roadside, so we'll get our normal 4 a year bushels.
And I got a big bag of ghost peppers this year. So normally I come out here for the Pueblo chilies because I like to make green chili. It's a tradition in my family. It's gone back for many, many generations. And I like to make hot sauce. So the hot sauce, I make a habanero hot sauce, and I bring the heat up with the ghost peppers. And this year I found an entire bushel at $35.
Right now, our chilies in Pueblo generate over $8.5 million in revenue a year for this area.
Over the course of the years, it just grew to, 6,000 people. To this last year, we feel like we had about 115,000 people.
It's a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun with the people out here. I like the Muso's kibasi with chili in it, and the Indian fried bread with chili in it. Just different foods. Try them all.
It's just an opportunity to get away, and kind of meet different people, see different things, and just kind of watch people see what they're doing with chili in general.
Each year, the Pueblo Chili Festival draws more than just tourists. It also brings restaurants and families together for the annual Green Chili Cooking Contest.
In the green chili, basically what I'm looking for is color, consistency, uniform in cuts, cooking temperature. Basically, is the green chili too hot? Is it not hot enough? The pork needs to be soft, not hard to the, it needs to be soft, it needs to melt in your mouth basically. The cuts on the onions, tomatoes, and green chili, it all needs to be uniform, it needs to be colorful, and you need to be able to taste the flavors in there.
One of the things that you have to consider on green chili is it has to be the same every day. And so whatever recipe you're using for green chili needs to be on board every day, the same thing. Otherwise, people come into Coors Tavern or wherever they go for green chili and they love it, and they come back a year later, an out-of-towner or somebody, they expect that chili to be the same.
With hundreds of thousands of people each year, it's easy to see why the Pueblo Chili has helped revitalize this city.
As far as economic impact, I think I can't put a number to it, but it has been very good for the city, the county, the growers, and I think the whole community.
Well, the main drivers of the Pueblo economy actually are agriculture and tourism.
Pueblo chili as a whole, as a single agricultural product, brings in a net economic impact to Pueblo County, a value of about $8.5 million per year.
But we're seeing things like the Chilies and Frijoles festivals start giving more popularity to that. We're starting to see value-added products going into Pueblo chili, things that are like roasted and frozen that can be used later on, or things like sauces and salsas that are developed out of the Pueblo chili that really help spread the economic impact of that chili pepper.
There has been other farms that do shipping to major chain stores and such. There's a lot of private bottlers that are coming into town wanting to buy chili to make their salsas. We got a guy in Denver that comes down, gets chili to make the Pueblo chili tortilla wraps. So I mean, it's endless product making with our product.
Everybody sort of ships a little bit, but we have became a certified processor of the chilies. We roast, chop, process for food service, retail, and with that, we have grown tremendously. It has probably grown 80% in the past 5 years.
So the future of the Pueblo chili, I think, is really bright here in Colorado, but also in the rest of the U.S. Pueblo Chili Growers Association has already successfully begun to market their chilies in stores like Whole Foods across different states. I think in Colorado specifically, we're working really hard this legislative session to make sure that we can legally name the Pueblo chili Colorado's chili. And we're going to start reaching out to the different restaurants, not only in Denver, but across the whole state, here in Pueblo as well, to make sure if you have green chili on your menu anywhere, that those are Pueblo chilies that you're using.
Well, you know, if we didn't have the chili, I don't think we'd be able to bring anybody together out here, because chili does bring everybody into town and buy.
The pride of Pueblo will always have its roots in the production of steel. But today, it's the power of a single chili that draws people from all corners of the world to experience the flavor of Pueblo, Colorado.